And here we are with another virtual Cardinals Nest. I'm Dean Beckman, the faculty athletics representative for St. Mary's. Donny Nadeau is our sports information director. And today we have on Jill Collum, who's our head athletic trainer, and Matt Sagar, our strength and conditioning coach at St. Mary's. And Jill, I don't know about you, but I feel a little out of place. I feel like it's No Shave November or something. What's going
Right.
on?
Me
You and
too.
I are the only clean cut ones here.
Dean, I wanted them to feel at home. I wanted you to feel at home. So I thought maybe you Iowa residents, go Hawks, huh?
Go Hawks. I love it.
Go Hawks.
Well, I may be an Iowa resident, Donny, but you know that's not my mantra.
Well, Jill and Matt,
I have different collegiate allegiances.
thanks for doing this with us. And I know, Jill, you love doing these. I know that you do. And so
I do.
we are really glad to have you guys back. And this is kind of a crazy time. And Jill, we had our staff meeting this morning, and you talked a little bit about what you've been doing, helping out at Mayo. And first off, let me say thank you for doing that. It's certainly all those people on the front line we are so grateful for. But talk a little bit about doing that, about what you're doing at Mayo to help those that are really in need.
Well, I'm pool staff at Mayo Clinic, and Dana Jorgensen, another one of our pool staff, is also part of our staff here at St. Mary's. She's been doing it with me. Nick Cheetah, our new our assistant athletic trainer that we've hired, he's also part of Mayo Clinic. And we are screening employees every day when they come in the building. We ask them a variety of questions as far as, any of their symptoms, if they've been feeling ill. Each employee does sometimes departments ask for 3 different temps during the day. So we are constantly screening people to make sure that they're healthy in order to take care of patients and be in the building. So
Keeps you busy, right?
very busy. But that's good. I don't like to sit around.
But Jill, I've got to believe that you really miss the hands-on work that you do with our student athletes, right?
I do. I miss every one of the athletes right now. It's just, I've been in contact with several of them. We've been sending out emails to our teams and just checking in with them, seeing if there's anything we can do for them. We've had some kids that had surgeries right away when, kind of over spring break. And so we were just getting ready to get them started on their rehab and their return to play. And it's just kind of all been put on hold. And, we just hope that those kids are doing their rehab somewhere and making sure that they're going to be coming back healthy. So unfortunately, that'll fall a lot on Matt in the fall, because we're going to have to do a little push if they haven't been doing what they needed to do without our supervision.
And Matt, if you would talk a little bit about what you've been doing, just in terms of yourself, since we've kind of been in this social distancing quarantine state right now.
Yeah, I mean, I've got almost everybody's summer programs ready. That's been a big push of mine these past couple weeks. But on top of that, networking has been a huge part of what I've been doing with this downtime. I've been a part of, I think I'm up to 8 roundtable discussions with other coaches across the country of all levels, all talking about how they're working through this, how they're helping their teams work through this, and what they have had success with on top of that. I also attended my first virtual conference. A group of Division I coaches out on the East Coast put together a fundraiser called Coaches versus COVID. And it was a donation-based conference, and some of the top minds in my field donated their time and talked and presented at this conference. And it was a 4-day or a 2-weekend conference. And on top of that, I'm on book number 5, I think, and just plugging away.
Matt, being strength and conditioning coach, as you prepare now for next month, next 2 months, we really don't know what's coming ahead. How do you set up programs for our athletes to keep them working out? Because a lot of them are not going to be able to get into a weight room, especially for the next probably month at least.
And that's the biggest struggle that of all those roundtable discussions I've been part of is how do we use what the kids are going to have available to them. And 9 times out of 10, that's a backpack. They should all have their books with them. Some of them have way more books than I think they need for a semester, but hey, that's not my call. But that's weight that they can put into those backpacks and use for a wide variety of things, jumps, swings. Hopefully they're not throwing their nice backpack around. Hopefully they have something they can throw around. A lot of the stuff that I have been sending and will continue to send revolve around body weight work. So sprinting, jumping, a lot of isometrics or pauses through various ranges of motion. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I've been watching the news every day to try and stay on top. I've been on a couple coaches forums to see what their administration say they can and can't do. And I'm in contact with our compliance officer, Coach Jen Miller, on a weekly basis to see how the rules change and what I am and am not allowed to do.
Matt, I know that the student athletes that Donny and I have talked to in our virtual Cardinals Nest here, they've all mentioned your name as far as trying to keep up with the workouts that you've been assigning. Did you get a chance to talk to the student athletes before everybody had to break apart on campus? And Jill, I guess that would be a similar question for you when Matt's done responding.
Yeah. I think it was a Thursday. That was a rough day. That was a really rough day. I got through my morning sessions. Afternoon rolls around and it was announced that we were sending everybody home. And most of the time Thursdays are pretty early day for me. I get to go home about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And I didn't leave until probably 8:30 because it was group after group after group of athletes asking me, what are we doing? What's next? What's your plan? How do we work through this? I don't have access to a gym. And it was just say, hey, I'm in the same boat you are. I don't know. I now have 3 months of work to do in 3 weeks or 3 days to try and get your guys' programs out to you and work around what you do and don't have. And then when state after state closed down non-essential facilities, gyms and training facilities, that just added a bigger can of worms to dive through. So it was just constant emails back and forth with team leadership groups, just trying to reassure them that I'm working on this as fastly and as diligently as I can to keep them as up to date as I can.
And Jill, I know I hear from so many athletes about the impact that you have on them. You said you had talked to several of them. What's the feeling that you get from them in terms of how they're doing, both mentally and physically?
It's a mixed feelings, I'm getting. It's obviously for the spring sports, especially those seniors, they're having a rough time. They really are feeling lost. They're not really sure what they're supposed to be doing right now. They don't know what their future holds. They just feel lost. And, like Matt said, we were there pretty late that night just because people wanted to sit down and talk, but we had no information. We didn't really have any answers for them. But and then I have other kids emailing me back saying, things are good on my end. School's going great. This is working out. I'm succeeding with this. So I think it's just all on their mindset. And, I think the seniors are having the harder time with all of this.
Matt, are you able to, from a workout standpoint, are you able to utilize Zoom at all to try and, if nothing else, maybe to demonstrate exercises that you're having them do, because they are going to be different than what you guys have done in your 6 a.m. workouts or in your usual workouts. Have you been able to utilize any of the technology we have?
So that's been one of the big things I've been talking with Jen about. So when this all started out, the NCAA was in the same boat everyone else is, scrambling to try and get their ducks in a row. And basically about a week span, we went from being able to run Zoom workouts, if you will, to you can't do anything. And that, there's a lot of factors that go into that, and I understand where they're coming from. It makes it difficult. Now I can demonstrate movements. So if hypothetical, I have volleyball wants to get on a Zoom call with me and they want to ask me questions, I can demonstrate movements, but after that, I can't watch them do it. I can't take them through the workout. It's just been kind of one hoop after the next, and each one gets a little bit smaller and a little bit farther off the ground in terms of what we have to try and work through.
Jill, a question for you. And, some of us have a little bit more time than we usually do, just due to the fewer in-person interruptions. But then at Mayo, of course, it's the exact opposite. They're literally as busy as they've ever been. What's that like for the medical workers and for the medical field, seeing some of us with a little bit more leisure time than what we're accustomed to, when the last thing they can think about is kind of taking a break and some leisure time and reading books and things like that?
Right. I mean, they've had some announcements in the last few days, and I think people are fortunate and thankful that they have a job, because they are making some cuts just in this short amount of time. Hopefully it's short amount of time that they're going to be able to get back full staff. But the ones that are there, we talked to a few of them the other day when they came through it, and some of them are scared. They're afraid. They're trying to protect their families as well as everybody else that they come in contact with. We've really took out the visitors. There's no visitors allowed in the hospital, so that kind of helps. But it's still, they're afraid. They're not sure where this is all taking us. They're hoping that they have the resources they're going to need, but I think that for a majority, people have pulled together and really come together as a unit to make everything work as smoothly as it has.
For probably two of our busiest people on campus, you two, how are you adjusting to, as Dean said, having a little more free time? Are you staying sane, Matt? I know you're probably getting a lot of housework done, but are you guys finding things to do to keep you busy besides creating virtual workouts? Because really, you're in no man's land right now.
Well, I made my kids paint my house inside. That got done. That's been on the to-do list for a while, but that was helpful. But I'm bored. I'm really bored. I think my dad and is sick of me calling, because I call him up and say how bored I am. I'm not used to. I said a day off here and there would be great, as you know, Donny, but Matt and I don't have this time usually to have days off, or you, and so it's just, I don't know what to do with myself. So just trying to find little things to keep me busy.
Yeah, I'm right there with Jill. I mean, it really stinks not constantly having something to do in the office or with the teams in the weight room. And I mean, sleeping in until 6:30 is nice, don't get me wrong, but I miss getting up and taking a team through a workout or working with coaches on various things. But I'm in my basement right now. The walls used to be Minnesota Wild green. They are now white, which is a huge change. I've hung 3 light fixtures now, and then also Donny, Dean, like I said in the staff meeting, I got on the roof and cleaned the gutters out. So just in time for this 8 inches of snow that we previously got. So.
Well, I'm going to make sure my wife doesn't see this video, because so far I haven't had to paint anything. Let's end on kind of a fun question. This really is for all three of you. From the athletic department staff meeting that we had earlier, that was the first time a lot of you have been able to see your colleagues since we've gone into sort of the quarantine mode. What was the biggest surprise? Who looked the most different?
Well, I get to jump on that first. My vote goes to Jay and to Jason. They've got mustaches going that are. I mean, if you've ever watched the commercial, The General, the one with Shaq and that cartoon General, that's what Jay looks like. He looks like the General with that mustache he's got. That was very impressive. So I would say that is my biggest surprise in terms of changes in appearance from when we got to see each other last.
Yeah, Jay was my biggest surprise as well, but it was. I saw a picture of him earlier, and it was a little lower, so he trimmed it up a little bit. But yeah, and yeah, he's certainly gotten Jason beat, but Jason's was different as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll go right along with those. Those caught me by surprise. I did not see that coming. So that was definitely quite the shock at that staff meeting.
Although Matt's is getting pretty good too there. I'm
It is.
pretty impressed with that one too. You know, on a serious note on that, Dean, it was really good to get to see our staff members today, because that really was the first time we've all been together since since we left campus, and it was just good to see everybody, and it did give you kind of a feeling of, these are my colleagues, and to get to see them, even if it's virtually, at least you got to see them face to face, and it was nice to see everybody.
I agree.
All right, so well, that'll wrap up this virtual Cardinals Nest. Thanks to Jill and Matt, and thanks to you for watching.
Everybody stay healthy.
Thank